This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLisio and Kenny Bergamy.
Well, hey there. Hopefully you are equally as excited to see us as we are to see you. This, of course, is the Farm Monitor, your one-stop shopping for everything and anything related to ag.
Case in point, Vidalia onions. Coming up, with the season now off and running, why the quality of this year's crop is being called very good. Also on the program, John Holcomb reports from LJ on how this Georgia transplant combines his welding skills and horseshoes to create works of art that has become a full-time job.
Plus, while most 11-year-olds are counting down the days until summer vacation, this Carrollton entrepreneur is putting all his eggs in one basket and building his business for the future. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Farm Monitor. As the old saying goes, the Vidalia onion will only make you cry when they're gone. And despite a tough growing season, there's no chance of that, as producers are hard at work stocking the shelves with this signature Georgia crop. Damon Jones gives you an update on the harvest and a new product to be on the lookout for.
While Vidalia onions went into the ground just 5 months ago, it's probably seemed like an eternity to producers as the growing season saw its fair share of obstacles. And that's after Hurricane Irma rolled through South Georgia while they were getting their seed beds ready.
And after that, we did okay as far as getting everything planted. But within the first week of January, we had about 5 inches of snow here. And the snow really didn't hurt us as much as that whole week. It was, 40 degrees as a high. So the majority of the time, that full week, we were in the 20s at night and the 40s during the day.
Now, despite all the challenges, there will still be plenty of delicious sweet onions on the shelves.
We actually have had snow, we've had cold weather, we've had everything you can imagine this year, but believe it or not, these onions are pretty tough. They made it through it all, and we're pretty excited about this crop. We've been shipping now about a week, and they look excellent, and we shouldn't have any problem. We've already done over 200 loads, so we let them roll.
That's just the beginning of a very busy harvesting season that will see more than 2 million boxes of onions shipped out of the Bland Farms processing facility. And while the growing conditions did have some effect on this year's quantity, the quality will remain the same.
The yields have been a little off in terms of total weight per acre. However, the quality's been pretty good. We have had some quality issues on the first side on some onions, but others have made up for that. We see a tighter onion, it's firmer, maybe a little small, but the flavor's there.
And this year you should be on the lookout for bags of smaller onions called Little Lows, which have the same big flavor in a smaller package.
You'll have anywhere from a 4-inch onion down to a 1-inch onion. So you get all different sizes are there all the time. The smaller onion that we have not marketed in the past is the smaller onions that taste just as sweet and is just as good a quality, but they're not as much size on them, but they're perfect for putting in stews and different areas that you can use them in.
And so far there has been a large demand for this product, which means consumers can expect to see them in their stores soon.
What we would do with them is actually put them in a bag and just sell them bulk to people as peewees and stuff like that, but they really wasn't the market for them. They were real cheap. But, marketing is all about how someone perceives the product, and you got to make them want it, and that's what we're doing here.
So no matter the size of the onion, consumers can expect the same great taste year after year, thanks to the time, effort, and money these producers put into growing their crop.
They've invested a lot into the research center, and as well as some of the other trials we do with the University of Georgia, and that's really paid off. More and more producers are producing a sweeter and sweeter onion.
Reporting from Tattnall County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Well, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, all politics is local, right? With that in mind, Cherokee County Farm Bureau kept it local recently as it hosted its annual Meet the Candidates Forum. The event was held at Cagle's Family Farm and has been a political tradition for over 25 years now. Organizers say while it enables the general public to interact with candidates running for local, state, and national offices, the important thing is that it promotes a dialogue about agriculture.
almost 400 people here tonight for a candidate forum. We are entertaining them because we're keeping them motivated about what's happening in the political climate in Cherokee County, but what we're really doing is educating and informing them.
Voter education, that is the key of this thing, is for everyone to get educated on the officials that are running, the candidates that are running, and make a positive choice for the county, the state, and the federal level for agriculture.
Farming's still a very important asset of the country, much less Georgia. It's our largest product in the state, and we still have a lot of farms to relate the legislative actions to the farm related in our agriculture. We need them, everybody to be informed about what's going on.
And we should note that while Georgia Farm Bureau doesn't endorse candidates or political parties, they will host events like this one to help you learn about the issues that face agriculture. Meantime, he may not be Michelangelo, but he is definitely a close second. Justin Howard is an artist, but not in the traditional sense.
Yeah, instead of using marble, stone, or a paintbrush, he creates art using horseshoes. We recently paid him a visit to talk about how the business got started and what he enjoys most about it. John Holcomb reports.
This is Justin Howard. Justin is a native of Florida that moved to Georgia a few years ago when given the chance.
I got the opportunity to move to North Georgia in 2013, and I got the opportunity to work on my cousin's ranch. They have a 100-acre ranch in Talking Rock, Georgia, which is just south of LJ, Georgia.
Justin was a welder back in Florida, and one day, while at his cousin's ranch, something captured his attention.
I happened to see some horseshoes laying around the barn, and I decided to go ahead and buy another welder just to tinker around a little bit. And I made a few pieces and went to the local farmers market, and people really liked it, and so I started making more. And just a few months later, I decided to do it full time.
He has since grown his business into more than just farmers markets.
And I've been doing it for a little over 4 years now. I do about 25 festivals, rodeos, craft shows a year. I have a website and a local antique store in downtown LJ called TJ & Company.
Justin says that he loves getting to be creative and make things with his hands, but it's the reactions from customers and people that stop by his booth that he loves most.
The thing I enjoy most about what I do is just getting to meet so many different people at all the different festivals and rodeos I get to attend, because they come to my booth and they just love it. I don't expect everybody to walk in my booth to buy anything. I just love it when people enjoy it and just think it's amazing. I think it's pretty cool myself. That's why I enjoy doing it. I enjoy looking at it and using it as well.
Making the art is actually a good bit of work, so much that he had to get someone to help him.
The whole process of getting the horseshoes and getting them cleaned and actually building something is a very labor-intensive process. So a lot of times I do need help. I do have a full-time employee right now, and have pretty much kept somebody full-time for the last 4 years.
It actually ends up being a two-way deal, as the people that help him are people that are needing some help in life themselves.
I actually use a place called the Isaiah House right here in LJ, Georgia. It's a halfway house for men that suffer from addiction and alcoholism, which I've also suffered from. So it's part of me getting to work with those guys, not just as a labor perspective, but also as a mentor and positive encouragement.
At the end of the day, he is just thankful that he gets to do something he loves and that makes him happy.
I just feel very fortunate to get to do what I do. It's something I absolutely love to do, and I believe that it's some decisions I made in my life that God allowed me to gave me these talents and to be able to do something that I love. And I'm extremely grateful to get to do it.
Reporting in LJ for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
All right, John, thank you so much. When we come back, you're going to meet a young man who's far beyond his age. At 11 years old, he has already developed a business model that spells out success. Stay tuned.
I'd known Justice Thomas, being from Georgia. Just raised my right hand, put my left hand on the Bible, with Mary smiling at me and taking the oath of office to be the Secretary of Agriculture. Quite an honor.
There could be no better person to be our Secretary of Agriculture. A man known, trusted, and respected by your industry. Thank you very much, Secretary Perdue.
Y'all need to know I was a farmer first, and we're going to get comfortable in working clothes, okay?
When you have a strategic goal, as we do at USDA, to be the most efficient, the most effective, the most customer-focused
Agency in this country with the best reputation. Can we do that? I believe we can.
The only way we become that way is to know what those customers are saying, what they're thinking, and what they're aspiring to. So I've traveled across this country to hear from people. What I've asked them is, what is USDA doing right? What is it doing wrong? How can we improve rural prosperity, rural quality of life, or how can we just get out of your way? The American economy had been burdened with unproductive regulations, and we're liberating the American economy. Our American farmers and ranchers and producers do what they best do. If farms aren't doing well in our rural communities, those rural communities don't do well. Sadly, we do not see rural America recovering from the recession to the same degree that we see urban environments, and that bothers me. We're here by virtue of an executive order that our president signed.
This is promoting agriculture and rural prosperity in America.
Working with my counterparts from other cabinet departments, we came up with a report on how we think we can help rural America succeed and thrive. We'd love to inform Congress in the next Farm Bill. Certainly the young adults that are trying to determine what their mark in life will be. FFA and 4-H are two great youth organizations that give back. And that's what we want to encourage these young people to look at careers in agriculture. And we want to help those who choose to return home or start a new career on a farm or in a rural community. When disasters strike like hurricanes, food is important. That's where USDA comes in. We serve many, many meals to people who were unable to get food elsewhere. I had a friend that had a 12-year-old granddaughter, and she said, "Can Mr. Sonny make school lunches great again?" So we relaxed restrictions and were able to make meals that would be consumed again. Trade is vitally important. We just need to make sure that it's not only free trade, but fair trade for the United States. In past years, we've been dipping into the Forest Service budget for forest management in order to fight wildfires. This provided us the emergency funding for forest fire without having to borrow from the funds for thinning the timber, cleaning those forests out where they become healthy. Our informal motto here at USDA is to do right and feed everyone. Do right and feed everyone. We think that's a great motto for USDA. Do right means treating each other with respect, and feeding everyone means making sure that every American has enough to eat. There you go. You're welcome to do right and feed everyone. Thank you. Y'all have a great week.
Established in 2016, Patrick's Fresh Farm Eggs in Carrollton, Georgia is on the rise. With a weekly customer base growing by the day, its small staff of 3 works nonstop to ensure those customers are happy. One of the attractions is the company's namesake, Patrick Hutchinson. He's a workaholic, and his vision for the company is massive. People who work with him and for him tell me he is personable, open to suggestions, and likes to think outside the box. Now, sure, you'd expect that from a seasoned businessman, but the thing about Patrick, he is only 11 years old. Born in 2007, Patrick Hutchinson is a self-proclaimed first-generation poultry farmer whose initial interest in chickens began when he was 6 years old. Routine trips to the hardware store built the foundation of what would become Patrick's future endeavor.
It started when I was in Boy Scouts. I used to go to Ace Hardware and get some Boy Scout supplies. And I always used to ask my mom, are the chicks here yet? Are the chicks here yet? And my mom said, nope, not yet. And every time they was there, I used to go over there and look at them. And I said, Mom, can I get one? She said, well, we have to have our own house. We can't live in an apartment and have one.
We moved here to our home, and I'm so grateful for it. When we came to look at the house, and there was a little coop there, he was like, this is the house. And I said, well, are you sure? You know, I was looking at the home, and I saw this amazing lake. I was like, really? But God made a way, like he was right on it.
With the help of the Carroll County 4-H Chick Project, Patrick and Mom Janie made the commitment to learn everything and anything about their chickens and other aspects of agriculture, including large and small animal sciences, as well as poultry judging. On February 28th of this year, Patrick officially registered his business with the Georgia Secretary of State Corporations Division. Since he's only 11 years old, Mom Janie serves as the registered agent, while his grandmother Teresa has the title of company organizer.
I started off not stealing eggs, I just ate the eggs. And then my mom, she said, why don't you give the eggs away? And I gave it to one of my favorite teachers. My teacher told her friends, and then they told their friends, and that's how I got started. And what's fascinating about them is about how chickens, they don't have to have males to lay eggs.
Once he gets out of school, it is like, I do not fight with Patrick. I do not, Patrick, go take care of the chickens. This is your responsibility. This is what I don't do anything. We get out of the car. Patrick's, hey girls, how you doing? Puts his backpack down and he works, right? He's in the chicken coop. He lets the girls out for some exercise, right? He's feeding them. I am Patrick's Uber, right? I get him to where he has to go, get him, on time, deliver the eggs, make sure he goes to his extracurricular activities, because he's a busy young man. Like, he's in Boy Scouts. He is a part of the poultry judging team at the Ag Center. He's a part of the horse club at the Ag Center. He swims with the Bluefins with Carrollton Swimming. And, he's a student and entrepreneur.
Still not impressed? Well, consider this. Not only does he have his own LLC, his own bank account, his own business cards, and a customer base of over 50 people, Patrick recently became a Farm Bureau member. At 11 years old, he is one of the youngest, if not the youngest Farm Bureau member in the state of Georgia.
Well, it's not really me. It's just I pray every day before I go to bed, and God told me one day, you should get more chickens. And I said, well, how many? He said, 600 or less. So my goal is to get 600 chickens.
And I attribute all of that to the Ag Center. He was interested in poultry, and they said, okay, well, we're gonna expose you to agriculture. And he's learned so much from just the safety of poultry farming, the expenses of poultry farming. He's had to learn economics, right? How he wants the consumption of his product. Like, he wants to make sure his chickens eat well so that his customers feel well.
Yeah, like I said, this young man far beyond his years. In addition to his egg business, Patrick's long-term goal is to someday join the military, hopefully become an Army Ranger or a Navy SEAL. He is just really amazing.
Yeah, great kid. We certainly wish him the best. Well, time for our final break. When we come back, it's called biochar. Sure, it looks like charcoal, but it's actually an effective way to improve soil fertility and crop yields.
George Bush said that a nation that feeds itself is more secure than a nation that doesn't.
You can't have a secure nation if you don't have secure agricultural infrastructure.
For all of America's existence, it's enjoyed the most abundant and affordable food and survival supply of any nation in the world. It is also the safest. From fields all the way to your table,
There are vulnerabilities that occur. Some are, that are just naturally happening, naturally occurring, that we work to not let happen. But you also worry from time to time that our adversaries around this world would try to introduce things into the food supply that would harm us.
But outbreaks don't understand state lines, and in many cases don't understand national boundaries. So our response needs to be a lot more robust, and there have to be a lot more agencies, federal and state and local, all working together. I think the Farm Bill is an excellent opportunity to do so. You know, because food is so plentiful in this country, and because we feed the world too, by the way, it goes hand in hand. I think we take agriculture for granted, and so we don't pay as much attention to threats to our agriculture as perhaps we should.
America's never had a circumstances where there just wasn't food available, and that security of being able to have that backdrop is we take it for granted because we've always known it. Food security is vital to our country, vital to our way of life, and it starts with the farmer and rancher in the field who are trying to make a living and provide that to us.
This is about One Health too, so it's not just about agricultural infrastructure, it's about the health of our human population in the end.
Well, a source of waste once destined for a landfill could soon enhance farmland and row crops.
It's called biochar, and Charles Denny shows us how the product could improve soil fertility.
Sort of thing you'd find at the beach.
Jackson, Tennessee is a long way from the ocean, but you'd never know it looking at what soil scientist Forbes Walker is digging up. This field is pretty much solid sand, deposited from a nearby creek when it floods. Sand zaps soil nutrients and hurts crop yield. But help is coming in the form of this substance. Biochar is being spread on fields at UT's Ag Research Center with hopes of improving soil fertility.
So what we're trying to do is amend these sand deposits with biochar, increase the water holding capacity, thereby increase the potential for the crops to grow. And then over time, we'll be following these things over time, we should start to see organic matter build up.
This is where UT Ag Research stores a large supply of biochar. It gets its name because it looks like charcoal and is rich in carbon and other nutrients. Biochar is made at this Lebanon plant, where a gasification process creates the substance from materials that would have gone into a landfill. Biochar can be made from tires, biosolid waste, and wood products.
In Tennessee and indeed south-wide, we are constantly looking for new markets for wood products, particularly the lower grade products. In other words, hardwood timber that's difficult to sell on the open market. And so biochar is a potential solution for that.
Back on the Knoxville Ag campus, PhD candidate Nastaran Basiri Jaromi conducts research into mixing biochar with pine bark, sort of mulch on steroids. She then put the substance on greenhouse plants like hydrangeas.
Biochar help the hydrangea plants and reduce the water consumption by at least 1/3. And it also reduces the amount of leachate, the water that comes out of the pots. So by reducing the leachate, it would also reduce the nutrient losses.
UTIA will put tons of biochar on Tennessee land, grow crops there this summer, and then measure the yields. But before planting, these fields get a renovation, spread the wealth and the nutrients. This is Charles Denny reporting.
Thank you, Charles. Well, our time with you has come to an end, at least until next week. However, we would like to welcome some new members to the Georgia Farm Bureau organization.
Yeah, actually, Ray, it's a complete family, a family of hawks located right outside the corporate business headquarters. We'll leave you today with a special look at these amazing creatures in their habitat. See you next week, everybody.